If you ever see me walking around Bristol Community College in Fall River, this is how I look. This is how I look. And still people say, "Hi Joyce, how you doing?" So off with the mask. Yeah. I wear it every day. I have about 3 or 4 I carry with me. They're fresh, they're clean, and I don't go anywhere without my mask. I am not playing. And I feel so much for all those people who lost loved ones. Awful. It's just awful. I mean, out of respect, even if I don't feel like I'm in a distance close enough with anybody, I have my mask on. Okay, off with the sunglasses. Ah, I feel like Mr. Rogers off with the, what did he take off his suit coat on with his sweater? Com 101. Hey, whose idea was this to take a public speaking class in college? Well, whoever's idea it was originally, it was a good one. I know when I first started teaching here, public speaking was called Speech 11, and it was still Fundamentals of Public Speaking, same name, just different number, different category, and it was an elective. And so I would always encourage everyone. I said, you really need to work on your oral communication skills. You've been doing this since you were in your mother's womb. You've been communicating through sound, through nonverbal, through gesturing. So you've got a lot of experience. But when it comes to formal education, mostly schools focus on the writing and the reading, right? They don't talk about speaking and listening, but they do talk a lot about writing and reading. So what you will find when you start reading the chapters in our virtual text, it is going to remind you of an English class because it really is from the same cloth. It really is. It's no different. Communication is communication. And in the first chapter, I think it's page, I'm not sure what page it is, but there's a diagram of the communication model. And that communication model would be suited for written communication as well as oral. So you know a lot about this course already from all your years of writing and reading. So you've been doing that since preschool, so we know you know that. So what you do is you connect to what you already know. You know how to write out an outline, you know what a thesis statement is, you know what goes into a good introduction when you're writing, and a body and conclusion, and it's the same skill set. So you really already know. What this class is going to do for all of us is to give us a safe place to practice our oral communication skills. Right now I am doing a video minute. It might take 10 minutes, but it's supposed to be a quick connection to you, and I'm sitting down, I'm comfortable and relaxed, and I'm keeping my energy up from beginning to end. And that is what I'm going to look for in your presentations. Keep the energy up, keep your focus on your audience and on your message. You do not have to be perfect to do well in this class. You do not. I remember my first speech I ever did, I was in high school, and it was a demonstration speech, and I was so nervous. And I was demonstrating how to make a frosting, a baking thing, frosting, right? And it was called Beat and Eat. It was made with egg whites. I don't even know where I got the idea from it, but I spent days working on that presentation. And the night before, I couldn't even sleep. And I kept like taping myself with a tape recorder because we didn't have video devices back in the 70s. So, and it just became obvious to me that it wasn't so much what I was saying, it was how I was saying it. And by midnight, when I would practice again, I sounded like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. I was just talking like this. And I thought, oh, no one's going to listen to that. And the morning came, and I think public speaking was one of my first classes, and I volunteered to be first. Like, please, let me just get this done. And I put out all my visual aids, and I started. And my teacher said all she saw was one big smile. They call that a Duquesne smile. When you smile and you twinkle. I was nervous, so I was smiling a lot. And I knew what I wanted to say, and I looked at my audience, and I encoded my message, and they received it and decoded it, and it went pretty well. but I know I made mistakes. I mispronounced words. I used the wrong prepositions. I mixed ideas up. I had to go back and correct myself like I've already done in this video. And I realized that the key thing is to keep going. And if you have a genuineness that you want to encode your message to your audience, to your receivers, to your listeners, that genuineness will shine and your enthusiasm will be infectious. And that's exactly what my teacher said. She said, what I lacked in polish, I made up for with a sincere effort and enthusiasm and energy. And she's going to make my frosting. That was my first speech. I don't remember any of the others, but that one really made an impression on me. But my next speech came when I was on a big scale like that, was when I was in college. And I started school off at Bridgewater State College, not university, back in the 70s, as a theater major. Because the only thing I ever liked to do was put on plays. I tried for the basketball team in high school, and that didn't make it. Only gave me sore thighs. I could barely go on the bus the next day. And I made the first cut, but I didn't make the last cut, so I didn't make that. But theater, that's where I loved it. I loved being on stage, but I loved being backstage. I loved being a backstage manager, or I don't forget what we call those people. I was a director. I did costumes, makeup. I'm in the makeup room right now. I love the whole spectacle. But halfway through my years there at Bridgewater, they said, we're not having this major anymore. Like, what? Put on the brakes. They said this whole major is going to morph into our new communication arts and science discipline. And I thought, what? You know, and some of my colleagues, some of my peers, I should say, bailed out. They went to other schools. But I was pretty committed to Bridgewater. Plus, you know, I was a state school kid. I was paying for this by myself. So I said, well, I'm going to see what this communication is all about. And one of the first classes I had to take was public speaking. And because I had my high school experience, I remember that first speech too. I don't remember the speeches after, but the first one. And it was on Marcel Marceau, and a mimist, right? And I was doing miming. And the teacher said the same thing. What I lacked in polish, I made up for with sincerity, genuineness, and enthusiasm. And then I started like studying this, like really studying. And Maya Angelou, who is one of my favorite inspirations, she's passed away now, but to me she's still very much alive. She said, you know, people won't always remember what you said or what you did, but they remember the way you made them feel. So this whole semester, remember that. You do not have to be perfect to do really well in this class. It's an experience. We're going through a process together. And for some of you, you've had a lot of public speaking in your backgrounds, or your personality really lends you to this, and so you're going to feel quite at home. You will be our leaders. And some of your others are thinking, oh no, what am I supposed to do? Well, what I'm doing right now is what you're going to do. You do not have to give a whole body shot. You can if you want to. You do not have to do a PowerPoint that you would have in the background and point to it. You can if you want to, but you can just sit down, have a message, have an intro, body, conclusion, have your genuine interest, take us through it, and be done. You'll notice if you're looking under the handouts on the side of the page you're on right now, you will see that there is a handout under presentations for every one of our speeches. So look at the syllabus, look at the calendar. You'll see the 4 speeches, or for some, maybe some of us it's 6 speeches. Anyway, I don't want to scare you, but because I'm doing this it doesn't matter. I just don't want to scare you. Some of you have 4 speeches, some of you have 6 speeches, but it depends on which group you're in. Anyway, I just got off track, didn't I? I'm sorry I did that. But you will see a handout for it, and you'll see what's supposed to go in your introduction, what's supposed to be going into your body, and your conclusion. So I will see you in the videos, and you will be doing your self-introduction next week on VoiceThread, and I'll put that up. For this week, I made a little printout of everything we have going there. I have the syllabus. I don't know, I keep saying that wrong. See what I'm saying? I am not polished. Syllabus, calendar, 2 chapters from our textbook. The chapter 1, And you will see above it, I have words for you to pay attention to, key vocabulary. Make sure you read that, then read the chapter. And then chapter 2, the origins of communication, which I find really interesting, especially Cicero. Pay attention to what he's about. And then 2 really meaty discussion boards. One by a young man named Danish, and he talked about overcoming his fear of public speaking. And he did it from a very technical point of view, counting ums and ahs. That is not what I do, and that's not how I was trained, but I understand the thinking. The thinking is he wants to be as perfect as possible. He's going about it by counting, but I go about it by trying to feel connected and genuineness and relaxing with it. So make sure you understand that. There's all different ways to get to the same result, but I just really admired his skill sets and that he had a business from it. He has an app, right? And the next young lady, oh man, I really enjoy her. And I loved her title, Getting Comfortable Being Uncomfortable, which is really my mantra. That's exactly how I explain the process of public speaking. You may not love it, but you learn how to manage any anxieties. You know what you do have to do for yourself. And because we're doing these at home, you're going to pick whether or not you have an audience or not. One of the definitions of public speaking is that it is supposed to be a message being encoded out in front of a live audience. Well, we don't have this here. And because of COVID-19, I'm not going to ask you to do that. If you do a live audience, though, and you're close to them and they're not family members, which I would not recommend, you should wear a mask. Because otherwise you're going to spit all over them, because that's what happens. It's not 6 feet to me when we're doing public speaking. I've seen spit clear the whole room. This is my 30 feet. So you have to be careful on that, right? So, but you don't have to have an audience. You know, when I taught this advanced public speaking online years ago, I said you have to have at least 3 to 8 people to make it public speaking, even though you're videoing it. But not for this semester. You can just do it just like I am. Now, play to your strengths. I like an audience. I don't have one with me right now. But when I was practice, sometimes I would put stuffed animals, or my dog or my cat would be there, or my grandchildren who are only going to say, Grandma, when are we going to have lunch? But someone to feed off of, but maybe your mom, your grandmom, your best friend, someone you would already see on a regular basis that you're not that you're like in quarantine with, someone like that, that might be helpful. Now, if you do have an audience, make sure you ask their permission. They don't have to be part of this. You don't have to like show them, but even if they speak up to you in the middle of your speech, they may go, oh, that's so funny, or they say something. I want their privacy to protect it and let them know that this is for a class. Have I said enough? Have I said enough? Okay. And then after that, I have a short Peanuts one from Charlie Brown that's going through the anxiety of having to do an oral presentation. And when I first saw it on YouTube, I thought, oh, I love that. And he actually gives some really good advice about getting rid of that energy. So watch it, even though you're not doing discussion board. So every week you're going to open up your folder and you're going to follow along what they say to do. But read the syllabus, read the calendar, look at the handouts on the bottom. Don't get nervous how many speeches. Don't get nervous. Don't get nervous. At least 4 for my COM 101s. But this video will go to another COM class too. I said too much already. But I'm so excited. And I can't wait to hear your introductions. That will be week 2. And the speeches will be week 3, as you can see by the calendar. And then we move on from there. Any technical issues at all from next week with VoiceThread or this week with doing discussion boards, please, please, please call the Site Lab or the IT desk. I did send you the phone numbers for that. I think you have them somewhere. But just remember that I'm not looking for perfection. So make sure that you get the technology down. And that's another good reason not to wait until Saturday or Sunday to do these speeches. I really don't mind if everything comes in on Sunday. You're still within the week and that you're going to get full credit for attendance. But if you have any issues, it's good that you can get them resolved. Get them resolved so that it's not making you crazy. Okay, I think I had something else to say, but guess what? I'll always have something else to say. So to be continued. You get to it. This is the best class you've ever selected to take, and I'm so glad you're here. Bye.